I forwarded on the invitation to her. So level 3, we are basically internet provider. So we are a large ISP. We also have a content delivery network. So basically what that means is we have got a lot of fiber in the ground, which is responsible for moving the internet. And so our customers vary. We have large wholesale customers who would be, you know, the names you know, AT&T, etc. And we're a global provider, so we have BT Telecom in the UK, France Telecom in France, and then we also have a content delivery network, which would be our streaming capabilities. And customers on that side would be like Netflix, and also some of the kind of major broadcasters as well would be our customers. We stream a lot of events, so for example, we'll be streaming the Super Bowl, and we do the Olympics. A lot of the events we do for some of our big broadcast customers. So our target audience is, we're now, as enterprises change, and obviously you guys are aware how much more all businesses are using the internet, obviously bandwidth requirements have changed. So we now sell directly to the enterprise. Circa 5 years ago we didn't. Now we do. So, you know, for example, large banks who require low latency, you know, solutions to get the, so with trading, now done electronically, so getting trades across the world, etc. They obviously need the fastest route, so they come to us. And for example, other kind of industries you have a big presence are retail, which obviously they need high-performing websites, so websites that, you know, they can click on, move fast, etc. And then also healthcare. You know, the electronically storing information, etc., and needing to move documents. So yeah, our kind of primary target would be an IT manager, IT director, CIO, kind of going up in that chain of order. And we also have collaboration services. So you know how you guys are now on, I think it's web meeting, isn't it? We provide that, and we have audio conferencing, we have VoIP phones, etc. So that's kind of it. It's a little bit geeky. I personally have been with the company 4.5 years. I was in the UK with level 3 for 4 years, moved over here in September. So now based in Colorado, which is our headquarters, a place called Broomfield, just outside of Denver. And then the reason that your email kind of sparked my interest is recently taken a new role, which is digital marketing. So looking at online marketing with a big emphasis on lead generation. So yeah, just kind of very much exploratory, just kind of getting to grips with a new digital, you know, marketing world, and wanted to see what's out there, and wanted to hear from you guys.
Okay. So before we show you a short presentation, I always like to kind of frame our product a little bit. The current kind of paradigm of digital intelligence, marketing intelligence, is to follow page flow. So in other words, Google Analytics, for example, tells you what pages they were on, kind of what order you went through them. And at the end, it gives you some analysis about whether there was a win or not, right? In other words, did someone buy something or fill out a form or do some kind of activity that the company wanted it to do?
Yeah.
We kind of ask a provocative question, which is this: what about all the people that didn't?
Mm-hmm.
What about all the business you lost? I mean, for every one person that fills out a form, there are probably 100 people that went to the site and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, for every one person that filled out that form, there might have been 10 people that started to fill out and didn't finish.
Yeah.
10 people that showed some kind of buying behavior. Maybe they've been to the site 5 times in the last 2 weeks. You know, we had a con call today with a company that does basically plastic surgery, facelifts kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a classic example. I mean, I'm not a woman, but I would guess that's kind of not an impulse decision. It's probably something you think about a lot, and maybe you go to the site 3 or 4 or 5 times before you finally pull the trigger. So the question is, when you're getting someone that's a high-value person that's coming to your site a lot, how do you give them the Spanish elbow to move forward, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically sort of the underlying philosophy or what's driving our technology. With that being said, Nate, I want you to show them what we got.
All right. So Here at Oopgo, we specialize in digital marketing intelligence, and we've created several technologies which for the first time really allow companies to see all the activity that takes place on their website. And what's really at the core of this technology is what we call customer interaction recordings, but essentially what they are is user videos. So here we have an example of a user video, and what really differentiates us from everyone else in the market is our data capture. We capture more data points than anyone in the industry, and what it allows us to do is, one, to create these user videos, and I'll show you a couple other things it allows us to do. But what these videos are is, we capture every mouse movement, scroll, text input, everything that a person does, and we create these videos. And what we really wanted to do was to put to put a company in the shoes of the people that are coming to their website, and to really let them see from a user experience perspective exactly what they're doing on their website. So this example that I have right here, I'm not zooming in or zooming out. What we're doing is we're showing you at the exact resolution that person saw your website, what their screen looked like, and all the things that they did when they were on your website. With the understanding that the user experience is going to be different between platforms. So the user experience for someone on a computer is going to be different than someone on a tablet or a phone. And so we really wanted to be able to kind of translate that and to show companies how that user experience is between people and between the platforms that they're using. Does that all make sense?
A little bit. So what do you what are you showing me now? So what is the two? Obviously I can see someone completing a form on a laptop, computer, and someone completing a form on an iPhone. But and then the little orange bubble. So what's the orange bubble? Is that you guys tracking it? What are you?
So the orange bubble is a click. So when they click on that specific text box right there, that's showing you where they clicked on the screen.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So how we kind of organize this is into a historical view, per person. So what we have right here is an example of everything this specific person did on this website throughout time. And kind of how we break that up is into customer sessions. And so how we define customer sessions is, a person comes on your website, they click around, they might put some text in somewhere, or they might go from page to page, and then they leave. That's what we consider one session. So if they were to come back, 5 minutes later or a day later, that would be considered a separate session. And we kind of break it up into sessions. One practical way to use this is, for instance, there's a lot of times people come to a site 2 or 3 or 4 times and look at a page prior to purchasing something. So it's the type of thing that through our tagging system, we can track how many times they've been to a specific page. And if they need a little nudge to kind of get over the edge to make that purchase, we can dynamically add something that would allow, maybe a coupon to pop up, or a pop-up that would pop up and give them a percentage off and kind of push them over the edge to make that purchase. And I'll show you a little bit more on our tagging system here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to look at a specific session, we can go ahead and click on it, and it's going to bring that up to the main viewer. And again, you're going to be able to see from that person's perspective exactly what their website looked like and how they interacted with your site. Down here at the bottom, what we have is several different analytics that we display. Again, getting back to kind of one of our biggest differentiators, we do capture everything that takes place on your website. We don't display all of that by default, just because every company is looking for something a little bit different. So if there's something down, in the dashboard that you don't see, or there's something that's important to you, you just let us know, and we'll be able to get that into the dashboard so you can get into your fingertips as quickly as possible, so you can quickly find it and get that information that you need. If we look over here on the left side, we have kind of the micro view of what happened during the session. So all the information, where they came from, what browser they're using, how long they're on the site. Look over here on the right side, we have kind of the overview of this customer's complete history. So how many times they came to your website, how many pages they viewed, so on and so forth.
That's a quick question.
Yes.
If they were to clear their cache, would that affect the number of total visits, or would you still know it was that person that came and it was still add?
Yes, we would. By default we operate by IP, but we can also use cookies if the customer would like us to.
Okay.
So and that would allow us to continue to track them. Yes. Okay. So getting to tag, are you guys familiar with tagging in regards to
Yeah.
web analytics?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So here's our version of tagging. And what we have here is segmentation and key actions, and they're kind of similar, but the differentiator between them is tagging. Basically, we have a set of default tags, but we can also do custom tags where you define the criteria of what you're looking for, and then we dynamically add those tags to people as they complete the criteria, so that you can quickly find them. Now, key actions, a little bit different, more behavioral. And so, for instance, if somebody were to complete a survey or fill out a contact form or purchase a product, we would go ahead and tag them with that key action, and you could quickly find those people. Does that all make sense?
Yep. No, it does.
All right, perfect. So, kind of the next step that I like to go to is that was really the very, very base micro level. That's at the individual person. And so I want to kind of step out of that and kind of go to an overview of everything that would take place on a website. So this is what we call our member section customer dashboard. And at this level, what it shows you is all the stuff that takes place on your website from an overview perspective. So how many visits you have to your website, where they're coming from, what country, state, or city they're located in, what search engines they're using, the keywords they're using to find you. What we wanted to do, one of the biggest things we wanted to do is, this information is great by itself, but we wanted to give you the ability to really drill down and to be able to see the information, to drill down to those videos and be able to look at that information and see really what's taking place on your website. So, for instance, if you wanted to see who these people were that were coming from Google and what they were doing, we can go ahead and click and bring up all the videos of the people that came from Google, with the understanding that a lot of websites out there are getting millions, if not tens of millions, of visitors per month, and so you're not going to want to wade through all that. We want to give you the ability to continue to drill down and get right to those people who are most important to you. So up here, we can continue to filter, whether if it's a tag you're looking for, an action that they're doing, or maybe a location. We can continue to kind of filter down and get to those results that you're looking for. Once we do that, we can go ahead and look at all these results, and if there's a tag that jumps out at you, or some information on here, we can go ahead and throw up that video and really see what that person did during that visit. And if they pique our interest and we want a little bit more information on them and see how they kind of interacted throughout time, we can go ahead and click a few more details and get back down to that really core level and to see their complete historical history on what they've done on your website, and get back to that. One of the other things I like to show here is conversion funnels. And this is kind of a practical way of how you can use this. Are you familiar with conversion funnels, Natasha?
No, that all makes sense to me. So yeah, and not the word, but yeah, I get it from the fact that it all drips down right into a lead, into a customer.
Well, the way that this kind of breaks down is, so every website has a purpose, and it's basically their call to action, what they're trying to accomplish. And generally what happens is there's several steps that a person has to take in order to complete that call to action, whether it's a sale or filling out a form or something of that nature. And a lot of times what will happen is in between these steps there's sticking points, and you lose people. You start to have people abandon your website. And a lot of traditional analytics, they'll let you know, okay, in between, in this example we have here, between step 1 and step 2, we're losing 1,600 customers. That's great information, but without anything else, you start to have to do a lot of guesswork. You're trying to figure out, okay, what's the issue? Why aren't they moving on to that next step? And we really wanted to get rid of the guesswork. So what we did was we gave you the ability to actually see what was taking place during that step, what might have caused them to not move on to that next step. And so we're able to drill down and to actually see what that person did during that step, and potentially what hurdle or what barrier they kind of hit. And in this example, you can see there was an error on the page. We need to go back and fix that error and kind of unstick that step so that they can continue to move through the conversion funnel to ultimately get and complete that call to action.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a practical way of use with the videos. So at this, this is what do you think so far? Pretty neat.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, so I don't deal with our website per se. That's dealt with by another team, and we have web trends. I'm thinking it's pretty similar, right? Or is it not?
No. Nobody, the functionality, we always have announced, because a lot of people think the functionality we've got is, similar to what's out there. Nobody's doing the video capture.
Right.
Nobody's taking that data and creating intelligence from it, actionable intelligence.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a rearranging the deck chairs. I mean, again, the old technology or the old paradigm is sort of, page flow, and then from that page flow, generating metrics based on that.
Yeah.
And the amount of traffic, et cetera. This is about 100% about driving ROI, about understanding behavior, and using that to modify the behavior. Basically, you want to modify what people are doing. And the only way to know that is to be able to see in detail what they're doing.
Yeah, that's cool. That sounds good. So I, looking at this, I know I'm not the right person, because this isn't, like, owning the website isn't part of my spec. However, have you spoken to anyone within level 3 before?
No, you're our first contact. Yeah.
I'm gonna forward your information on to Shane the Bounty.
Okay.
He's out of the office at the moment. He's at our annual sales conference.
Okay.
But if one of you guys wants to drop me an email with your details, I could just forward it on to him and let him know. But I'm thinking it's worth him having a chat with you. Because he kind of, and I'm pretty sure we use web trends as who we use, to track our website at the moment. So I think it's definitely worth him having a conversation with you.
So there's a sidebar or a second option too, which is, obviously using this for your own web tools, but there may be a possibility, and I'm not sure if this again borders on what you do, about maybe adopting our products somehow into your tool set. I don't know exactly what that would look like, and if there'd be maybe a project manager or somebody that we could interface with. But that's one of the areas that companies your size with your sort of technological base. The question would be: is there some benefit to integrating this in some of our tool set?
Okay.
Any thoughts on that?
Again, I know I'm not the right person, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Shane, definitely.
Okay, well, we'll start with Shane. Okay, well, we'll shoot you an email if you can forward us his contact info. That'd be great.
Well, I know I will, and thank you for coming on the call, because I didn't quite understand, saw kind of digital marketing intelligence, and I was like, oh, I want to,
Yeah.
I knew I had some time today, so
okay,
thanks
cool.
for coming on the call.
Well, we appreciate it. We know, companies like yours, it's very horizontal, right? There's a lot of different people integrating a lot of different products and stuff. So sometimes you have to, meet with 2 or 3 people till you find the appropriate person to land on their doorstep. So we appreciate the guidance on that. We appreciate your time, and we'll fire up an email and we'll wait to hear back from you.
Fab. No, that's great. Thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you. Sure. Have a good
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Yes,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. All right, so, hey, real quick, 1 second, let me make sure they are off. Okay, so got them both off. Pat, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I sent you some of the notes. Yeah, these guys are freaking ginormous.
So one big point here for their questions when they ask, okay, so you're the same as, I know we want to go as much benefit business based as possible, but when someone especially who's not the expert gets into comparison and say, okay, I'm sure we can already do this. That's why it's very necessary what I showed last night about explaining the first to capture on-page data. Even though it's not business related, if you mention that once strongly, then they're not going to ask those questions.
So this is my point. I'm just going to bring this up with James on, because this is something that you and I talked about last night. I mean, I kind of feel that the way James handled that was good. I mean, I don't think that we need to get that much in the weeds, because James and I have talked a lot about keeping it short, sweet. Don't put any barriers in the way. Don't try, just get right to the point, answer that question like James did, and then kind of move on and not really get into the weeds. I don't know if showing another thing, if that really is getting into the weeds, but James, do you have any kind of input?
I'm not talking about showing a toolbar. I'm talking about in the introduction, making sure it's clear the capability differentiator. Okay, so you got